Everything feels normal at first. They text you consistently. They seem interested, emotionally present. You feel the connection growing naturally. And then suddenly, something changes. Their energy feels colder. Replies become shorter. The warmth disappears. And now, you're left overthinking everything. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Did they lose feelings? So why do people suddenly act cold? And what does it actually mean psychologically? Let's go deeper. First, you need to understand something important. Cold behavior is not always about a lack of feelings. Sometimes it's about emotional conflict happening internally. Now imagine this. At the beginning of a connection, emotions feel exciting. There's curiosity, attention, emotional intensity. But once things start becoming emotionally real, some people begin feeling uncomfortable internally. Not because they stopped caring, but because emotional closeness activates fear. Now, here's something important. People often become cold when emotions become harder to control, especially emotionally avoidant people. At first, they enjoy the excitement, but once attachment appears, so does vulnerability. And vulnerability can feel threatening to someone who fears emotional dependence. Now let's go deeper. Sometimes people act cold suddenly because they're emotionally overwhelmed. Stress, internal problems, fear of intimacy, overthinking. And instead of communicating clearly, they emotionally withdraw because distance feels easier than emotional honesty. Now here's the deeper truth. Some people learn to suppress emotions instead of expressing them. So when emotions become intense, their instinct is not connection, it's retreat, silence, distance, coldness, not always consciously, but psychologically. Now let's take it one level deeper. Cold behavior can also happen when someone loses certainty emotionally. Maybe the chase ended, the excitement changed, emotional reality became deeper, and suddenly, the connection starts feeling more serious than they expected. For emotionally immature people, that shift can create panic internally. Now, here's what makes this confusing. Cold people rarely explain what's happening, so the other person starts blaming themselves. You analyze every message, every interaction, every tiny change, and slowly, your mind creates stories to fill the emotional silence. Now, this doesn't mean every cold behavior is deep psychology. Sometimes people genuinely lose interest, and that's reality too. But here's the important part. Healthy emotional connection does not leave you constantly confused. Consistency matters. Now, what can you do? First, stop panicking immediately when someone's energy changes. Observe patterns instead of reacting emotionally to one moment. Second, pay attention to communication. Do they explain themselves, or do they disappear emotionally every time things become deeper? Because patterns reveal emotional maturity. And third, understand this clearly. You should not have to beg for warmth from someone who genuinely values the connection. Now here's something powerful. People often act cold suddenly, not because they feel nothing, but because they feel emotions they don't fully know how to handle. And sometimes, distance becomes their way of regaining emotional control. So if someone suddenly became cold toward you, don't only focus on the behavior itself. Look deeper. Because sometimes, coldness is not emotional absence. It's emotional confusion hidden behind distance. If you want to understand relationships and human behavior on a deeper level, subscribe. Because sometimes, the coldest behaviors hide the deepest emotional conflicts. New videos every day on YouTube.